What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, October 25th, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Reverend Jared Petty.
Doki doki, my friend Greg.
How are you? How much sleep have you had?
Very little sleep.
If you did not know, ladies and gentlemen of the viewing/listening public, today is Red Dead Redemption 2 day.
It is.
The review embargo is up. People are streaming the game. We'll talk about when you can get your hands on it, because it might be earlier than you think. And you, Jared Petty, of course, run Red Dead Radio, a very popular Red Dead podcast.
I'd say a moderately successful Red Dead podcast, mostly resting on your coattails.
So,
yeah,
you had to put together your review.
I did.
Our review and discussion video.
Exactly. 2 videos.
Right.
Right. An individual review, that's short, spoiler free. Then a longer discussion review, also pretty much spoiler free between you and I, where we share our very different opinions.
100%.
Yeah.
So, how much sleep did you get last night? Because the embargo, 4 a.m. Pacific time.
I think I got 2 hours between about 6:37 and 9. So I went to bed about 6:30.
So you stayed up,
I woke up
until 4 a.m. to publish. Then
I was
you were
working
in the comments.
all night. I was working all night.
What were you working on? Getting everything ready?
Working on, sometimes you're working on a project and you discover you accidentally put the credits in your video twice after it's about to go live on YouTube.
Sure.
Or you get some last minute information that you need to put in, or you're like, oh my gosh, when I captured that, hours and hours ago, I didn't notice it was completely corrupted. I have to go back in and capture that again.
That's great.
And working on multiple videos. Plus, I have another video that I'm filming tonight that I had to get ready for. So I'm putting that together. Plus, I got all the other usual hot blip and a jump stuff to do that just has to get done. It's Patreon commitments.
Sure,
So yeah, it was a really big, and then folks have been helping out with advertising, and so I was back and forth with them. It was a very long night. I'm excited, but despite my excitement, I got to be honest with you, Greg, I am very tired. I can only promise you that I can give you the level of commitment today that Gary Whitta normally looks like.
Okay,
that's what I have in me.
I can accept a Gary Whitta level of commitment. Yeah. I can do the heavy lifting today.
Okay,
don't worry about that.
I can't wait.
You got to do Gamescast this afternoon. Of course, Kinda Funny Games Patreon, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. For just $1, you can watch us record the Kinda Funny Gamescast today, which will be more Red Dead Redemption 2 review talk. We're having news about it. Really more review talk and discussion on that level, including Kevin, Andy, you, me.
I cannot wait
on
for
the
that.
Gamescast $1. If you're watching this later and it's already coming past the afternoon, patreon.com/kindafunnygames on Friday. You can get it as a video. You can get it as an MP3. There's a pre and post show, all that jazz in the video. You can get it for free the following Monday, youtube.com/kindafunnygames.
And you should.
I digress. For now, let's talk about Kinda Funny Games Daily. If you didn't know, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, kindafunny.com/KFGD, with your questions, comments, concerns, bad PSN names, and everything else under the video game sun. Then, watch us record it live, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If you're watching live, we have a special job for you. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and listening on podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you. Myself and Nick are off to EGLX this weekend in Toronto. You can get our full schedule at kindafunny.com/EGLX Saturday and Sunday. We have multiple panels, meet and greets, and all sorts of things. And Night Angel 87 writes in to kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, so hyped to see you guys this weekend in TO. Just found out I can't make it to the meet and greet Sunday because of our family commitment. Any chance of meeting you guys in person on Saturday, or the chance to buy you guys a beer, as I started listening to you guys when my life hit rock bottom. And without knowing your humor and honesty helped me out of a crazy, depressing point in my life. Totally get it if things are tight schedule-wise. Thanks for all the laughs. Kinda funny. You're the best. Night Angel, of course. Yes, we have a full-fledged meet and greet on Sunday at EGLX where you can come hang out with us and all that stuff. But Nick and I are just wandering around EGLX after and before panels. So if you see us, just come up. And if you come to either of the panels on Sunday, either us playing Fortnite or us playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, afterwards we will gladly grab a photo and do stuff like that. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. Today we're brought to you by Loot Crate, Quip, and Third Love, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. Man, cool, Greg.
Man, I swear I never know.
Cool Greg, I don't understand. Jared said he was going to give me Gary Whitta level energy.
Yeah.
You just gave me less than Gary Whitta.
That sucks.
Wow.
I'm sorry, man. I actually just was on my phone Googling what the sound is supposed to sound like because Andy says me and Kevin both do a bad job, and I don't even know what it's supposed to sound like.
It's supposed to sound like a breaking news report. Like something that would interrupt. Like it would interrupt.
What you do is you go watch like the Muppets when Kermit's like, it's a Muppet news flash. Like listen to that sound.
There you go. That's
right
good.
before that. Go
Yeah.
look up the Muppet news flash. That's the sound.
4 items on the Roper Pro, Cool Greg.
A baker's dozen.
Number 1, as we said, it's Red Dead Redemption 2 Day. You can't throw a rock on the internet without finding somebody's opinion of Red Dead Redemption 2.
And you might find a glass house if you're Greg Miller. Oh my.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Please continue.
Okay. I don't get the reference, though. Hold on.
I don't either.
Okay.
I'm really tired.
Okay. You can go and get all the reviews up there. A perfect 10 from IGN, a 9 from GameSpot. Easy Allies gave it a perfect score as well. They are everywhere. Jared's review is up, and he says, great, right? Your scale is great, which is his highest possible review from Jared Petty.
Whereupon our discussion, much more interesting, and I'm glad because I haven't seen anything else like our contrasting discussion out there right now. Maybe there is something, but I haven't seen it.
Sure,
It's
outside
great.
of people being really mean to me,
Right.
there's been a lot of comments
that
people
was what
really
I was talking
enjoying.
about, glass houses, throwing stones, etc. People have been throwing rocks at you. I was trying to make an analogy about you being stoned.
Sure.
But I got it mixed up with glass houses, which is about hypocrisy, but you're not a hypocrite.
I was going to say, I wasn't being hypocritical.
No, I'm just really tired.
It's fine.
and
We'll talk
should
about
not be in
review
this
stuff
chair
on
right now.
Gamescast. Instead, let's run through some of the big beats we're seeing over there and then answer a whole bunch of Red Dead questions, spoiler free, of course. Right now, let's start with Kris Reed at GameSpot. Turns out you're going to be able to maybe get Red Dead Redemption 2 early. If you want to get the game a bit earlier, it turns out there's a way to do so. Both Best Buy and GameStop have announced they'll begin selling copies of the game at 9 p.m. local time on October 25th, the day before it launches elsewhere. This, of course, is competitive then with the digital downloads that are happening. I also saw somebody tweet me that they work at Walmart and were told that they're going to be doing this as well.
Oh, really?
So it seems like if you're going to a big box store, you might be able to get Red Dead Redemption early. So check on wherever you are planning on getting it.
Cool.
On top of that, Steve Watts at GameSpot reports that Take-Two stock is on fire. After suffering a slight dip over the last couple of weeks, the stock for Take-Two Interactive, the parent company of Red Dead Redemption 2 publisher Rockstar Games, is up today upon positive critical reception of the game. This puts the company's stock near its all-time high. As of the time of writing, the stock is roughly at $120 US, a gain of about 9% from yesterday's market close. For comparison, that's almost 4 times the increase of the overall NASDAQ average gain today, of which Take-Two is a part. That doesn't quite recover it to its high point of $138 in late September, but it's close considering the stock only steadily entered the triple digits over the last year.
A 9% increase in a day is a seismic shift.
And I would be fascinated to see what it's at now, what it'll close at when the trading day is over, as hype continues to build and reviews continue to roll in. Man, I started getting lazy here and not doing... Steve Watts, I assume, was at GameSpot. I think I stopped putting GameSpot in here because they were... GameSpot. But yeah, these are all GameSpot stories.
Okay.
Day 1 patch has been detailed. This is from Kevin over at GameSpot. Red Dead Redemption 2 is just around the corner. Rockstar's open world Western, of course, launches on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One tomorrow, October 26th. But like many big releases nowadays, Rockstar has revealed that the game will come with a Day 1 update. According to the developer's official website, the update will address, quote, a number of last-minute tweaks, bugs, and fixes. You aren't required to download and install the patch before you can begin playing the game, although Rockstar strongly advises it to ensure the best possible gameplay experience. Article didn't talk about how big the Day 1 patch is. Of course, it's been well documented. Red Dead is like 100 gigabytes. You have a whole bunch of space.
Huge, humongous video game.
Yeah, makes sense too. Beautiful, obviously,
absolutely.
detailed open world. Jared.
Yes.
This last one here in the Red Dead Rundown before questions, I think is the most exciting one of them as somebody who's played the game. This is from Rockstar themselves. There's a Red Dead Redemption 2 companion app. The Red Dead Redemption 2 companion app connects directly with your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One as you play, delivering real-time interactive information to your smart device. Available for download on October 26th on both iOS and Android, you can pan and zoom the map, set waypoints, or mark areas of interest with a tap on your screen, aiding your exploration and discovery throughout the expansive world of Red Dead Redemption 2. The app will also show you Arthur Morgan's core info and stats in real time on your device, allowing you to completely remove the in-game HUD from your television should you choose. Additionally, the companion lets you examine Arthur's in-game journal, provides stat tracking through Social Club, contains the full digital game manual, plus an optional digital version of the Red Dead Redemption 2 Complete Official Guide from Piggyback and more.
That's rad.
That is, one of my complaints, right, from a technical aspect is I feel like the menus are obtuse and getting around the game is weird, right? And I don't like the cores being in my face and reminding me I'm playing a video game. This actually gets me super excited to try that out.
Yeah, just have it there.
When this is up and running, I totally want to give it another go with, hey, I hear it's running on my iPad. You know what I mean? And just have it be the Western movie they're trying to make.
It's already such a beautiful game. Even not just in set pieces, and not even just in wandering, but also that incredible cinematic camera. And the fact that now I'm just going to be able to purge everything from every scene. I really love that. And like you said, navigation is, we agreed with that, one of the more difficult problems, not geographic navigation, but like menu navigation is not always
to have it be there, to have it be tapping, to like the screenshot they showed of an iPad with we both love Arthur's journal, right? His sketchbook, seeing that there, that's awesome.
And his journal being dynamic, it's going to be cool because all of us are going to have a different experience with that. His journal's based on how we approach the game, so each of us will have a unique experience like that. One thing here, piggyback's cool and all, but shout out to them IGN wikis. I got to represent the old school there. Check, those guys have been working very, 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 very hard.
I thought it was. This is a level of immersion I like a lot in a game, especially what they're trying to do with Red Dead Redemption 2, where I felt as a game that is trying to drive home realism.
Yeah.
Whether it be what you can carry, how much you can carry, what's happening with your horse, and how you're getting guns off of it. I thought it was weird to have to jump into a menu to look at the map to see how it is. To have the map at me at any time, I will
right there.
Will totally be that thing of way more realistic of me being Arthur and grabbing it. And
you're pulling it out of your pocket. Yeah, I am not usually big on second screen experiences.
Yeah.
This game already does so many weird game-breaking things. Not game-breaking in the bad sense, but game-breaking in that this is a completely new idea being tried. It's a very experimental game.
Yeah.
It's one of the most brave AAA games I've played in ages. It tries so many new things, and we've talked, and you can watch that on the review, about whether or not they succeed in that. Each of us have a different opinion, but this is one of the few games I can imagine where I'd really like that second screen experience. This is great news.
Yeah, I definitely want to try it out. Hopefully it's up by the time we get home, but it is for sure tomorrow, they say. Let's get to some of your Red Dead questions again. No spoilers. We'll be all over the map. There is two reviews up, basically, for Jared over on Hop, Lip, and a Jump, and Gamescast will cover more review-y impressions as well.
I can't wait for the Gamescast discussion. It's going to be so much fun.
Well, you got to conserve energy, all right? I want you taking a nap after this.
Yeah? You want me to take a nap? I'm not very good at naps.
I don't care.
All right.
I can have Cool Greg put you to sleep if you want.
Oh, I could believe it. Cool Greg could totally do that. Cool Greg, did you look up the Muppet Show yet?
That's it, I'm on it.
All right.
Oliver from England writes in and says, "What's good, Greg and Jared? Just wondering, does it suck that you guys get to play games like Red Dead early but don't get to speak openly about them? I imagine there's a bunch of water cooler moments y'all have discussed amongst yourself in the last few days, weeks, however long you've been playing, but do you get bummed out that you can't scream from the rooftops about it? I know it's likely to be I know it's likely to be the most first world problem ever, but man, I'd be itching to openly talk about it so badly. Love all you do, Oliver from England."
These are water cooler games, but the short answer for me is no, I'm having too much fun to worry about it right now. I am enjoying an extraordinary privilege. I'm one of a very few people on the planet Earth that got to play this game early. It was just a remarkable thing. I can't believe that they handed it to me and said, review this.
Yeah.
It was. I'm a nobody. I'm a nothing, and so that just. And the game is so good that no, I don't feel anything but really, really happy. And now I get this like whole second wave. I get to enjoy this experience with you from a very unique perspective. So I just feel grateful.
Yeah, I think it's totally a first world problem. And yeah, there's plenty of times when I would like, oh man, that would have been a screenshot I would share. Like, or for Assassin's Creed when I was doing photo mode stuff, I was like, I still have like 60 photos stacked up that I need to do something with on my hard drive. But that was the only downer of it. I think you're lucky enough that we are an industry that is tight and mainly based in San Francisco. So you'd have to look far to find somebody else who is playing and bounce ideas off of them. Mm-hmm. But then you get to a point where it is, okay, cool. The review embargo lifts at 4 a.m. What does everybody else think about it? There's always that interest in terms of like what's going to go on with the people I haven't talked to.
Absolutely. And you do get those moments. I mean, I've discovered a truly, I'm not going to spoil it, bodacious secret, just one of those really cool rockstar secrets you have to dig a little bit for.
Sure.
And it's a good payoff. And like when I found that, I'm like, I can't tell anyone. And I was like, that was that. And I'm still actually in that place because who wants that spoiled, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So that's why I didn't put it up on the channel.
Interesting. When are you going to talk about it? You're eventually going to have a Red Dead gloves off. This is what we're talking about.
We're going to have a spoiler cast, but not now. I don't want to ruin it before people have the game.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean now. I was just saying. Where do I want to go next? I have a whole bunch of them stacked up here. Let's do a Jared question. Ernie wrote in to kindoffunny.com/KFGD says, "Howdy, Greg and Jared. Just watched the Red Dead Redemption 2 review from IGN, and I am not surprised of the score that it was given, but it does add to the high level of anticipation that I already accrued over the past 8 years. Watching the review, I just realized the online portion of the game will not be released side by side with the single-player portion. Instead, online will be released at a later date. At first, I was conflicted on how I felt about Rockstar doing this, but after letting it simmer in my head, I came to the conclusion that I believe this is the right move so that everyone can enjoy the story without being tempted and distracted by the online world. Jared, this one is for you. Why haven't we heard too much about online? Do you think they will have a separate advertisement campaign for online before it releases to boost sales for the holidays? Do you think online will be as crazy as GTA Online? Or do you think they'll keep it somewhat grounded and still the Red Dead vibe? I feel like they'll lose me for online if they throw flying unicorns and whatnot in it. Love what you guys do. All the way from Orlando, Ernie, a.k.a. the Earn Dog."
I like his PS there, too.
P.S. Y'all should come visit the real Disney here in Florida and maybe do a meet and greet.
I've been to the real Disney many, many times. I once dated a girl that worked at Disney, and I'm not going to lie, at least a little of the reason I dated her was the free Disney tickets.
Sure.
I'm a bad person.
Fair. No. Was she goofy?
She was great.
She Pluto?
She was a really cool person.
Mickey?
No, actually,
Minnie?
she worked with dolphins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's actually awesome.
Yeah, she had a really cool job.
I digress. Jared, why haven't we... Let's start at the top for Ernie. Why haven't we heard that much about online yet?
We haven't heard a lot about online for a few reasons. First, hey, remember Red Dead Redemption, that wonderful video game that had an online mode? That mode is not particularly associated with the original Red Dead. They're building something new here, so they're going to build on that GTA framework. Mm-hmm. When GTA launched, a lot of people have forgotten this, I think, it didn't launch with online right away. That came later, again. And I think that they learned a lot from that. One, frankly, the GTA launch was rocky. So they're like, hey, let's make sure we got all our ducks in a row. But second, I think he nails it right on the head. A lot of this is just so they can give us a second wave. Let us experience that single player together. Let us have that water cooler experience together. Let's sit around and talk about all these crazy things that happened to you. Oh, this happened to you. Oh, I tried this and that happened. That's what Rockstar games are all about. Then, when we've gone a few weeks into that and we've all kind of gotten to that same place toward the end, they can go out and say, okay, guys, here's game part 2, effectively an entirely different experience built on this engine, but with completely different focuses. Imagine how many ideas they've held back from GTA Online over the last several years. Yeah. That they could have been like, well, we could put this in GTA, but let's save it for Red Dead because we want this to be successful. Do I think it'll be more grounded? Yes, at the beginning. I absolutely think Undead Nightmare will be an online mode.
Yeah.
I have no inside information on that. That is purely my prediction.
Do you think, I mean, that was the thing about GTA Online, right? Is that GTA Online evolved into what it evolved into based on players' wants and desires and what they were talking about and what they were playing.
Yes.
So I would imagine that, over time, if more people are looking and talking and wanting the crazy thing, or they put in something not even insane, something quirky, and everybody's like, oh my God, that's great, if that'll lead them more towards that.
I think they'll definitely add quirky stuff eventually. I think we'll have vampires and werewolves and ghost riders in the sky before it's over with. I think we'll have Deadlands, the online game, but it's going to start pretty grounded.
Yeah.
And then Halloween 2019 or 2020, depending.
Yeah.
I think we see Undead Nightmare drop as in multiplayer mode and add supernatural elements.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to playing it, but I think really it's just smart marketing. They're looking 100%. And going, hey, go out there and enjoy this. Because this game is, I was reading Alana Pierce, my friend on the internet. She was pointing out, hey, I haven't seen any evidence of microtransactions in the Red Dead single player. Just a huge, freaking deep, amazing game. And they want you to experience and enjoy and get your value out of that before you move into the free online mode.
100%. And I think that's the point, is that, they very clearly crafted something here that they believe in, that is connecting with people, that they love this story, right? This world. And they want you to experience it, not, dip in for an hour and then I'm going to play online all night long. They want everybody to play that, see the 8 years of work that were put into it, the millions of man hours put into it, and then get another marketing beat, own it again, because that's the thing people do seem to forget, is that you didn't want to compete with the Red Dead release date of October 26th. However, there's still another whale out there of when they do say, guess what, December, November, whenever they want to do this next year.
And GTA Online was tremendously successful and remains tremendously successful.
Yeah.
It's a huge game. And I think that they're really building on that model. If Red Dead 2 is the sequel to GTA 5, Red Dead Online is really a sequel to GTA Online.
Sure.
I think it has more in common with that than it ever did with the first Red Dead Online.
Glenn VP writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD and says, just read the Red Dead Redemption 2 trophy list. When will game makers realize the multiplayer trophies are stupid caca that shouldn't be added as that should be added as expansion trophy groups instead of part of the base list? Now I have to grind out level 50 online and get MVP 4 times and other stupid, difficult, dependent on other people's stuff. This is an outrage. Greg, Can you and the Kinda Funny crew put together some kind of PSA for the numbskulls?
I respond, gamers, when are you going to learn that trophies are caca?
No, Jared.
They're meaningless
No,
and
Jared.
silly.
Let us enjoy them. Let us enjoy things.
I think people should be able to enjoy their trophies. I just think it's ridiculous when people start complaining about their trophies when the trophies themselves are optional artificial incentives, and then people get all testy about artificial incentives tacked to the ends of already artificial. It's like too many degrees of separation to get mad about this. That's my
You're not wrong. No. Trophies are goofy and dumb, and I love them, and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
No,
I think I'm glad they exist. I joke about it, but I'm happy.
I do think that there's good trophy lists and bad trophy lists, and I don't think necessarily the Red Dead one is bad. Yes, looking at it, get to level 50, do something crazy in a game that I'm not sure I'll even, how much online I'll play of it or care about it, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, looking at that, I'm like, well, I'll never get the platinum in this. But then again, I'm not owed the platinum. I'm not entitled to platinum if I don't want to put in the work or I don't like a mode, and that's not the end all be all for me. Yeah. It's also for Rockstar, very similar to what we're talking about. We're not putting out online right now because we want you to enjoy and play and feel Red Dead's story, right?
Yeah.
In the same way, the people who are making the multiplayer are like, motherfucker, I worked really hard on this, and I want you to feel and enjoy and play it. And so. It's a varying degree of trophy, and it's an argument for everybody in development and players of, are you making them work for it because you want them to get everything out of it, or are you just trying to give them the thing because they jumped in and tried it like an Uncharted online or something to that effect? It's up to the developer and everything, and I think there's a conversation to be had, but I don't think there's a right or wrong answer necessarily.
Are you going to play Red Dead Online? Are you going to try it?
Depends. You know what I mean? GTA Online never spoke to me, and this is granted before I think I gave online games really more chances. Because like I've had a good 2 years now of like, oh man, Monster Hunter or Friday the 13th or jumping into these different things.
Monster Hunter, Friday the 13th, Fortnite. All I can think you were really into all of this.
Yeah, exactly. And now with Firewall, even though Kevin and I fell off, but we loved the game, it just got busy.
Yeah.
And I want to try Fallout. Hey, I digress. I'm going to see what it is.
Okay.
GTA Online was one of those things I tried to play the first night, and all the servers were crashing, and I was like, all right, never really came back to it until we started Kinda Funny, and then we were all talking about we should play it, and I would go to Achievement Hunter, and we did Let's Plays there with stuff that was already established, and they knew everything, so they were able to guide us into the right places. Great. But when Kevin and I sat down with GTA Online, we're like, let's really get serious about it, and we gave it like a couple weeks. It was very much like, can I get the phone to stop ringing? I'm not going to take this job right now. How do we get in the same instance? No, we're not in the same instance. And there was like so much cool stuff about it, but then it was just so crazy already.
GTA Online is like a trip. He mentioned the Good Disney. It's like a trip to Walt Disney World. When you go to Disneyland, everything's super well laid out and close together, and you can walk to anything in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Walt Disney World is a county. It's spread out over 4 different parks and a variety of sub-parks and free zones over many, many miles that you have to drive between.
Yeah.
GTA Online, I love, but I love it because it's Walt Disney World. It's just this insane amusement park full of attractions, but they're all in very different modes and themes and kind of places, whereupon I think the single player game is much more Disneyland.
Yeah.
So I'd be very interested to see what your reaction to online is if you give it a shot.
I'll see what it is, like, because we don't know, right? Nobody knows what this is going to be.
Yeah, I know.
I know Kevin is enjoying Red Dead, so when we get to that point, Kevin's I are the multiplayer guys who like to play together the most, and so if he's ready to go and you're doing stuff on it, like I'll definitely pop in when it launches and we'll see what's up. But
cool.
We'll go from there. Jordan Gibson writes in, and this is an easy one for you, Jared. With the release of Red Dead Redemption 2 almost upon us, I just was curious if it's necessary to have played the first one.
No, it will add some to your appreciation of the story because you got attached to John in the first one, and John is a big part of what's going on in Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
Likewise, you get to know Abigail and Jack and Dutch, who are all major characters in the prequel, or pardon me, in the original game that is a story sequel. But no, just go play this game. Don't go back and play the 8-year-old game unless you've got 50 hours that you don't want to, that you don't have anything better to do with. There's an IGN in 5 minutes that explains the whole story, and that'll give you enough to build on here.
There you go, Jordan.
It is a great game, and I recommend if you got the time,
Fantastic
go
game.
back. But at this point, play Red Dead 2.
Alec from Minnesota writes in and says, howdy, Greg and Jared. I just finished watching your review discussion on Red Dead Redemption 2 on Hop, Blip, and a Jump. Parentheses, everyone needs to watch this.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you indeed. And I wanted to have a talk about one of the topics that came up during your discussion, realism in games. Whether it was having to make sure that you sleep/eat, take care of your horse's storage space, or even simply being careful on how fast you ride your horses into town, it seems like many of the realistic, detailed features of this game have left you with different views. Jared seems to really appreciate the amount of detail put into the game, and it immersed him more in the world, while Greg seemed to think of it a little cumbersome, and it took him out of the immersion experience. My question is, do you think there is a limit to how realistic a game should be? Or should more games try to follow Red Dead's example and be more meticulously detailed? Also, Greg, now that it seems you won't be playing Red Dead, what other games are you planning to play to fill the void? P.S. If I am wrong about any of your opinions, please feel free to correct this crazy fan. Alec from Minnesota.
Games without limits. That's what I say. Let people try new things. This year has featured 2 major AAA studios taking huge risks. Red Dead Redemption 2, despite being a surefire hit in terms of its pedigree, took unnecessary risks to try new things in the structure of its game. This is absolutely an artistic experimental statement on the part of Rockstar. And I don't think we've given maybe enough attention to that fact that they really did try lots of new things in this. Same way, Fallout 76. We're now getting looks at that.
That's where you're going.
And that is a very, very, very big risk for Bethesda.
Man, dude, see,
They did something very different with that
I
game.
think you're being too limited and narrow in scope saying 2. I think you can look this year and see all sorts of stuff. Hey, we're going to reboot God of War from the ground up.
Okay, good.
Hey,
There's 3.
hey, Insomniac is going to do a PlayStation exclusive Spider-Man game like when they were trying to break out and be more third party and be everywhere.
I never thought Spider-Man was a risk. I just thought Spider-Man was awesome.
Sure. Oh, no, yeah, but I mean the idea of it, right? Like, remember when they announced that and we were all trying to wrap our heads around the idea that it was going to be this exclusive thing from them that Marvel was partnered with and all. I mean, don't get me wrong.
that was more a year. I was just ready to wet my pants with glee. Like
sure.
I was like, this will
Totally.
be a huge hit.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And I'm not trying to be prophetic or anything. It's just I was like,
I think that was pretty much on the wall. Yeah, the writing was on the wall. There.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they expected it to sell as like it did, but yeah.
So AAA, God of War, there's another. You're right. Spider-Man. There's a lot of this. Monster Hunter World tried something really brave and new this year.
Exactly.
With Capcom and with it, and it looks like Resident Evil is a big change, etc. So I think no limits is a good thing because yes, you're going to get some failures sometimes.
Yeah.
But you're also going to get innovation and change in games. And you remember the era of bald Space Marines in gray and brown? It's over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over, and it's over because people finally took risks.
Yeah, Alec, your question here, my question is, do you think there is a limit to how realistic a game it should be, or should more games try to follow Red Dead's example and be more meticulously detailed? My answer to that question is, yeah, no limits. Games are art. Games should be able to be whatever the creator wants them to be. You have a message, you have a story, you have a gameplay you want to try, go do that, right? And yeah, art is subjective. So we're going to get to the point of Rockstar's put out Red Dead 2, and clearly it's connecting with a lot of people. It didn't work for me. That's me saying it didn't work for me,
right? And
not me saying the game is bad, that I would score the game at 5. That I would, I'm saying it's just like, oh, cool. In the same way I look at a Final Fantasy and I'm like, that's not for me.
Right.
I picked up the controller and I was like, oh, this one's really not what I want right now.
Right. Go ahead.
And we talked about it. Maybe, in a couple weeks, months, whatever, I'm going to be like, you know what? It's slow right now. I feel like playing that and getting there and it all click into place the way it should.
Yeah.
But it didn't for me right now. But it did for you. And that's awesome. Yes, Rockstar should be applauded for all the chances they're taking. In the same way that I think, I got to the end of The Last of Us and expected there to be a choice and there wasn't. And I was like, holy shit. Naughty Dog just told me their story.
Yeah.
Unabashedly. This is what they wanted to happen and it happened. That's what Rockstar's doing. And that's the thing is like, great, that right now isn't clicking with me and I don't feel like I'm going to go back to it.
And yet, even though it didn't click with you, something you said in our review is that this is a good game.
Yeah.
It just didn't work for you. I loved it. I love the risk. I
want people to take risks.
What Corey did with God of War, I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I mean, Disappointing Sun Simulator 2018 is a great joke, but how hard it must have been to ramrod that through the very conservative process of AAA game development.
Sure.
People don't want to take risks with hundreds of millions of dollars when they feel like they can make more money on the safe thing. Yes, ultimately you make more money when you take the risks and it pays off. But trying to convince folks that have their investment wrapped up in that at that moment, that's how you really pull it off when they're like, well, we could just make something safe and know we're going to get something back. Oh, it's so difficult. So it requires a kind of not just courage, but a perseverance in the workplace, sometimes that can span years, that I really admire. And I think that should be called out. The people at Rockstar, lots of people ground very hard to make sure this came out the way it did. And I'm happy about that.
100%. And then, yeah, to your question, Alec, also, Greg, now that it seems you won't be playing Red Dead, what other games are you planning to play to fill the void? I do want to try out Red Dead with this map feature, because I want to know if that shifting into a more cinematic thing and taking some of the in-your-face video game stuff out of it will make me connect more with it. But beyond that, I need to get back. I want to platinum Assassin's Creed. I beat the story, but I want to get back to that because that's one of my short list of Game of the Years. I want to platinum Astrobot. I want to play Lego DC Supervillains. And then next week on the 30th, right, they start the Fallout 76 beta on PlayStation 4. I want to get in there and see if that's a game I want to commit to when we get full code for that. And then now we're gonna move on. Number 2 on the Roper Report. Fortnite's assault rifle is getting a Nerf version. This is Adam Bankhurst at IGN.com. Next spring, Hasbro and Epic Games will be releasing their first Fortnite Nerf blaster, which will allow kids and adults around the world to live out their favorite Fortnite moments. The Nerf Fortnite AR blaster will be available on June 1st, 2019, and costs $49.99 US and features rapid fire, motorized blasting, and flip-up sights that allow players to focus their aim as they eliminate opponents and attempt to survive the storm. The ARL blaster features a 10 dart clip and comes packaged with 20 elite darts and requires 4 AA batteries, which aren't included.
Greg, I promise you a Gary Whitta level of involvement this morning.
Yeah.
And normally I drop stories in, I drop games in, I'm very involved in the planning of the document. Mm-hmm. This morning I came in and spent an hour trying to focus my brain on how to make 7 questions for Mobile Gamer Bullshit because brain doesn't work anymore.
Sure, yeah.
So when I saw this headline, I thought it was that Fortnite was nerfing the assault rifle.
Oh yeah, totally. That was where I think I was drawing at.
I got very tickled here.
Yeah.
Very, very tickled by this article. You know what? Nerf blasters? When I was a kid, I used to play with dart guns.
Yeah.
And they were these little single shot little things. And I used to draw in notebooks magazine-fed dart guns. I didn't understand how mechanical things worked.
Yeah.
But I would imagine that such a wonderful thing would one day exist.
Yeah.
And now they do. And I say, well done, Nerf.
Well done, Nerf, indeed.
Fortnite.
Yeah, what a great... It's like, I put it in there because what a great collaboration. Yes, kids love Nerf, and yes, kids love shooting things with these guns, and yes, they love Fortnite. Mm-hmm. So yeah, why not team up and do that thing? And it looks just like the one you'd see in Fortnite. It's like a great idea. Yeah. Announcing it now for June 1st is a bit weird.
Yeah.
I feel like that should have been a more imminent announcement, but whatever.
There's a mall near where we live that has a giant indoor kid Nerf arena.
No way, really?
Yeah, they actually have like it's like paintball, but with Nerf guns for children. And I've been to that mall a couple of times with my wife and walked by and I'm just like, man, right now I wish I were 8.
Can you imagine? Yeah, that'd be
because
awesome.
that would be so much fun. And
Leaps and Bounds is what I loved growing up.
Oh.
And that was one of the ones where it was like they have discoveries. I think is another term for them. But it was the hamster pipes up there that you crawled through, and there was the ball pits.
Absolutely.
And the rope ladders and rope obstacle courses and stuff like that.
Those things were awesome.
Yeah.
I was a purist. I loved arcade cabinets, so I was a Chuck E. Cheese guy because they had the rise.
Enchanted Castle for me out in the DuPage County.
Enchanted or Aladdin's?
It was a local one called Enchanted Castle that had Toby the dinosaur that would sing you happy birthday, and it was great.
That's freaking rad.
Yeah, it was one of the mechanized ones. It was like an independent Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh my gosh! Have you ever watched this documentary about the people that collect the Showtime? The Showtime pizza like animatronics.
No.
Oh man,
is it easy to find or is it,
no? It's easy.
The documentary.
Yeah,
I'd love to watch it.
Yeah,
but I digress. Number 3 on the Roper Report is an interesting one. It's just a couple quotes. It's about how Assassin's Creed Odyssey was built without crunch. It's from Gamastura. Chris Graft over there had an interview with Patrick Klaus, the Ubisoft Quebec studio managing director. I don't necessarily think there's news here, but we've talked about this, right?
Yes.
Of, hey, somebody wrote in, hey, we only talk about the people fucking it up. When there's a bad quote or this happens or the telltale stuff, we talk about people going bad, but we never talk about the people who actually talk about it and how they fixed it or do it well. The article in general from Gamasutra, very interesting. Here are the 2 paragraphs I've pulled from Patrick Klaus. While we can always do better, I can tell you hand on heart that Assassin's Creed Odyssey hasn't required a massive crunch, like maybe some of the other AAAs from 5 to 10 years ago. We can still always do better, but we have managed pretty well to succeed in delivering a game of huge magnitude, which is hitting a good quality level, while making sure that our teams are not burnt out and disgusted with working in games. We collectively, on the management team, think that it is a false economy to burn out our teams. We risk losing them, or we risk disengaging them, and we will simply not get the best out of those talents if we're forcing them to work insane hours in crunch. We've got some way to go, but I'm feeling good about what we have achieved.
First, I'm really glad that he feels confident making that comment and taking pride in that. There has been a lot of discussion about this recently. We had a discussion about what was going on.
Feels like all last week was the conversation, right?
And then, I feel the need to personally address this, if you don't mind for a moment. But I said then, hey, let's wait for, we know a story's coming.
Yes, the Jason Schreier piece that came out since you were
if
last
I
on
talk
the
about
show.
this
Oh
for
my
a
God,
moment?
of course.
Okay, yeah.
Required reading, of course. We talked about it. The Jason Schreier crunch at Rockstar, not expose, giant article he put up on Kotaku.com. Go, Jared.
Well, I said, hey, we know this is coming. Jason's told us. Let's wait for Jason's story and look at that and take it apart. And it's an amazing piece, and everyone should read it. And Jason's story highlights a very broad spectrum of experiences at one developer at Rockstar that I think reflects a lot of what goes on in the industry. You and I have known people who work in different studios all the time. Every studio has its own culture, and those cultures change over time.
100%.
But there is obviously a culture of overwork that takes place in certain offices. And Jason talked specifically about parts of Rockstar and some folks who expressed that they felt things could be much better. My interpretation of what I saw in the story was I can sum up, I think, in 4 parts. First, that things appear by and large to be better than they were when they were reported on around 2010.
And what I think is worth pointing out for that statement, if you haven't read the piece, is that yes, there are biting criticisms in it, but Jason has a graph in there that basically is like both the people who talk to me anonymously and on the record pretty much all agree that yes, it's better than it was.
Right. So first, it's better than it was. Yeah, actually, and piggybacking on that, I actually had a Rockstar employee reach out personally to me and talk about their good experiences there, and they chose to do so anonymously.
We had a kind of funny best friend write in that we read the letter anonymously, and that was case, very much like it's not as bad as people make it out to.
And this person was talking about their pride and their focus on that. Second, though, so things are better, but second, they are not as good as they could or should be. Mm-hmm. I think that's very clear, and that there is a tremendous, not just room for, but need for continuing and proactive improvement within some of those areas. They talked particularly about the QA studio and a lot of the experiences people were having there, and other stories as well. And there were folks that came back and said, well, wait a minute, what about these things? And Rockstar, to their credit, opened up the doors and brought their people out and said, hey, these people they're very proud of the work that they've done, and they feel that this is not representative. But a lot of people expressed frustration and stories of overwork. And what they perceived as a culture of overwork. And I have no trouble believing that there's a lot to that, because I've seen cultures of overwork in parts of other companies. And it may be hard for people to understand that in a large company, some of that can be segmented. In a large developer or a large publisher, that happens all the time. One department versus another at a different time. The third of those 4 parts is that we have those 2 things. It's not as bad as it was. It's not as good as it should be. Third, is the company committed to getting better? Certainly, the fact that things have improved leads me to believe that proactive steps have been taken, and they've demonstrated some of those. I also think, however, that there is only so much a company can do to correct itself within a year. And that situations like this that highlight these issues from external critical perspectives, while they have the potential to balloon and spiral and turn into shouting, which is not helpful for anybody, also do place a company in a position where it's going to reevaluate again. And I'm sure that's happening right now. Because crunch is terrible. When I say crunch is terrible, I'm talking about consistent, mind-sucking, mental health-breaking, physical health-breaking crunch, which can happen in studios and publishers. I understand deadlines and overwork. You and I do it too. Everybody, I think, that works in a creative outlet does it at some point. And there's a huge difference between that and it becoming culturally acceptable, which I think both of us at times in our lives have frankly bought into, if you don't mind me being frank about it.
No, of course.
And I don't want to speak for you. So fourth, what do we do about it? In addition to what's being done internally, I think we can now move well beyond Twitter shouting. We have some facts in front of us. We have some testimonies in front of us that paint a very broad picture. There's been all this talk about unionization. One of the things I haven't heard many people talk about when we just say, oh, union, magical solution. Here's the most useful thing about unions in this situation, I think, Greg. Right now, these employees that talk to Jason feel like, whether it's true or not, that Jason is the most effective person they can talk to. They may feel like talking to their boss or their coworkers is not going to fix the situation. Whether that's true or not, we're not there and seeing it. But right now, he is what they regard as their outlet for change, the folks that want change. What a union does is creates a focused outlet for these kinds of complaints, concerns, frustrations, because a union allows you to have a group of people with bargaining power that can work not just within a developer, but across the industry to get together and say, hey, I don't go to not just my boss, I can go to my union rep and say, this is a problem here. And when 5 people go to the union reps and say that, the union rep can go to the union and the union can investigate. And when they realize there's a problem, they can go to a publisher or to all publishers and say, what can we do about this? Because internal culture isn't doing enough to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what I think the merit of all this unionization talk is in this situation. It gives us another place, besides going and talking to the boss, and besides going and talking to the press, and besides screaming into the void, it gives us another constructive place to voice these concerns and inaugurate change. And I think that is a lesson to be learned from this. That's my opinion. And thank you for allowing me to rant on that for a long time.
No, I think you're in the same vein we all have, but I know you were very... you wanted to wait until you had more facts and all this stuff because it was this constantly spinning wheel of, or let's talk hypothetically, and then but Rockstar would come up, but we don't really know what's happening, and like you know what I mean. It's a back and forth, so you have some more.
Well,
information.
it is a back and forth because people had guess what? People had different experiences. If we start a union across the video game industry tomorrow, we're gonna get letters from people that are unhappy at their jobs and feel like the union's screwing them.
Sure.
I mean, that's not going to solve everything. Some people are going to have unhappy experiences in their jobs. Some people are going to have crappy jobs, even at good companies. Yeah. That happens. That's life. We can't completely eliminate that, but we don't stop trying, and that doesn't mean we can't be effective. There's this Jesus, of all people, said once, the poor will always be with you. It's like, the poor will always be with you. People have used that one sentence to justify, oh, well, we just can't really do anything about that then. Jesus, who did more for poor people than almost anybody in human history, also said that. He wasn't saying you shouldn't try to help people. He was saying this is a constant problem. Don't forget about it, but just do more. And that's the kind of situation that we are in workplaces, and this extends outside the video game industry. So my take on this is that I think it would be good for us to proactively begin to move as an industry from media to entertainers to influencers to developers to publishers, management and staff, engineers and artists, writers and directors come together at a table and say, how can we build a structure where this doesn't happen? And I think that's going to happen, Greg. Okay. I think we're headed right for it.
All right. We'll stay tuned. That would have been a great place to transition to the list, but we're not done yet. Number 4, I got some streaming stats for you to chew on. This is from Rebekah Valentine over at gamesindustry.biz. Stream Elements has released a State of the Streaming Industry report to coincide with TwitchCon that shows several trends being bucked in Q3 of this year. For one, YouTube is beginning to inch its way closer to Twitch's viewership. It moved from 15% of total live streaming hours viewed in March of this year to 25% in September, though it's still a long way from catching Twitch entirely. Back on Twitch, the top 100 channels haven't seen any growth in combined viewership hours. These channels went from a total of 262 million combined hours in January of this year down to 254 million in September, though overall viewership hours are still rising across mid-level and smaller channel tiers. It's possible that some of the stagnation at the top of Twitch when comparing January to September has a connection with Fortnite's dip in popularity in the last few months. After a peak of 151.9 million hours watched in July, Fortnite hours dipped to 131.4 million in August and 105.8 million in September. The drop in Fortnite interest gave Activision Blizzard a chance to take its edge back in the last quarter. World of Warcraft saw 87 million more hours watched in Q3 of this year, likely due to the Battle for Azeroth's launch. With its combined titles, Activision Blizzard beat out Epic Games for most popular publisher on Twitch for the first time since February. Finally, the report notes an interesting figure, that in the midst of the rise of esports, it still makes up only between 9 and 17%, varying across the last year, of Twitch viewership, and has remained steadily between those percentages over the last year.
My main observation here is that it's a mistake to just consider YouTube and Twitch when talking about the story. I think that those are all relevant facts. I'm not criticizing the article. But Twitch doesn't necessarily even primarily compete with YouTube. That's the way we perceive it. But Twitch competes with Netflix. Twitch competes with Hulu. Twitch competes with Amazon streaming. Twitch competes with YouTube. There are only so many hours in the day that anybody can watch something.
Doesn't it all compete with everything? That's the thing, right?
Yeah, but I think particularly when it comes to pressing buttons to watch things on screens, that's an especially lucrative growing market. Everybody wants a piece of it right now. And frankly, I wonder when we look at what Microsoft's doing with streaming games and what Google's doing with streaming games, if those won't enter into competition with these as well, as people are like, imagine what it's going to be like when you can just be watching Fortnite, press one button, and you're popped right in, into the same instance in some cases.
Sure. Not screen cheating, Jared. You can't screen cheat.
It's going to happen. And that's going to change that landscape of competition even more. So yeah, these stats are interesting and mean a lot to me, but I think that when considering a story like this, we should probably also look at what's happening across viewership all over streaming media, not just within games.
True. Jared. Usually I give you a bad transition right here, but instead, I'm going to tell you about our sponsors. Today we're brought to you by Loot Crate, Quip, and Third Love. Loot Crate, let's talk about Loot Gaming, a monthly subscription box delivered direct to your door with exclusive pop culture collectibles, apparel, and gear. Loot Gaming curates and designs everything themselves, and you can't find these items anywhere else, like that Metal Gear pint glass I keep talking about because I love Foxhound so gosh darn much. Every month has a theme, and you have to get over there to use it. One of the upcoming themes here is Edge of the Blade. Victory comes at the edge of the blade. Face your enemies with razor-sharp gear from God of War, The Elder Scrolls, Kingdom Hearts, and Assassin's Creed. Loot Gaming is a curated collection of exclusive, one-of-the-kind items from the best video game franchises. When you go to this link, you click on it, you click on the Loot Gaming, and you're ready to go. You get a t-shirt in every crate and $60 of value packed in for less than $29 a month. Subscribers also get automatically entered to win each month's Epic Drop, a special prize that looters can win just by being a looter. This month's Epic Drop includes a PlayStation 4 Pro and God of War bundle. Subscribe now by going to lootcrate.com/games and enter my code GAMES to save an exclusive 30% off your subscription. lootcrate.com/games, my code GAMES to save 30% off your subscription.
Those folks are wproviding me a wardrobe right now. I went over and used that code and got.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm part of the loot for the t-shirt.
Oh, thing. Nice. Yeah, so the loot
I should
apparel.
know this, but
Next up is Quip. One of the most important things we do every day for our health is brushing our teeth. Yes, most of us don't do it properly, it turns out. Quip is a better electric toothbrush created by dentists and designers. It was designed to make brushing your teeth simple, affordable, and more enjoyable. People brush too hard, and sometimes electric toothbrushes are too abrasive. A built-in 2-minute timer pulses every 30 seconds to remind you when to switch sides, helping you for an even and full clean. Up to 90% of us don't brush for the full 2 minutes and don't clean evenly. Turns out I was one of them. Didn't realize it was supposed to be 2 minutes.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No. So I've been better about it now.
I didn't know that for a long time.
Yeah.
Then, very recently, within the last year, I started using an electric toothbrush. And I really like it, and it's helped me a lot with my dental hygiene.
Yeah.
But I don't have a Quip electric toothbrush. You think we can work that out?
No, because I need one too. Nick took the one from here and he loves it. Nick is using it and keeps talking about it. Quip doesn't require a clunky charger and runs for 3 months on one charge. Brush heads are automatically delivered on dentist recommended schedule of every 3 months for just $5. Like I said, Nick loves it, and that's why they're backed by 20,000 dental professionals. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/games right now, you can get your first refill pack for free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's first refill pack free at getquip.com/games.
Greg, that means that I can go out and do that right now.
Exactly.
So I can save. All right.
Finally, Third Love is the final sponsor. Third Love has an offer for all the kind of honeys out there. The perfect bra. Using thousands of real women's measurements, Third Love designed its bras with breast size and shape in mind, so they fit impeccably and feel even better. Third Love just added 24 new sizes, and guess what? The most requested style, cotton. It took 2 years to develop the perfect cotton collection, which is made with a premium cotton called Pima. The result of this is a line of incredibly soft, smooth, and breathable bras and underwear you'll want to wear every day. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone, so right now they are offering my listeners 15% off your first order. Go to thirdlove.com/games now to find the perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. That's thirdlove.com/games for 15% off today.
Fun fact, Pima is Japanese for bell pepper.
Really?
Yes, I don't think that's where they got the name.
I don't think that's where they probably got it. Jared, I'm excited to see these bras, but it's going to be a while before they get to the office. If I wanted to know where I could get other stuff in stores like video games, where would I go?
Well, if I was looking for video games, not bras, I'd go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
It's Thursday. Strap in for Switch stuff. Let's get all the non-Switch stuff out of the way first. Party Hard 2 is out on Steam. The Adventure of Magical Girl is on Steam right now. There's a new update for the PC version of Human Fall Flat. From here on out,
it's Switch.
It's Switch up until some Wii U stuff at the end in a 3DS.
All right.
So, coming to the Switch today, Heavy Burger, 1001.
Oh, wait, my friend, that would be Johnny Turbo Presents Heavy Burger.
Oh, there
Johnny
it is.
Turbo's
I couldn't find it earlier.
Johnny Turbo's Arcade Heavy Burger.
It.
I'm very interested in this. This is a Data East mashup game by the guy that keeps releasing all the Data East
Johnny
Switch
Arcade,
games. Well, this is not an old Data East game. This is a new game.
It's so confusing.
Yeah, this is like a mashup game of Data East arcade games. I can't wait to play this.
I want a full report. 1001 Ultimate Mahjong 2, 7 Billion Humans, ACA Neo Geo Strikers 1945 plus.
1940X, yeah!
Is that a good game?
I don't know. It's a 40X game, so I'm interested.
Okay.
1943 Kai is one of my all-time favorite video games.
Okay. Aqua TV, Arcade Archives Ninja Kid 2, Black and White Bushido, Car Quest, Chicken Range, Deployment, Dracula's Legacy, Internum X, Fairy Tale Puzzles Magic Objects, Friday the 13th Killer Puzzle, Luke and Rebekah, Pass Part Out The Starving Artist, Painista, Pinstripe, Puzzle Wall. We are out of names. Stop trying to name things, guys. They're not even trying anymore. A Storm in a Teacup, Suicide Guy Sleeping Deeply, Super Hyperactive Ninja.
The sequel to Super Hypercube.
Word Puzzles by Paugi. Yamawari, the Long Night Collection. Oh, that's actually out on the 30th. I should have deleted that. That's on me, sorry.
Wait. Oh my gosh, is there a Wii U game here at the bottom?
Yeah, oh yeah. Insect Planet TD comes to Wii U. Then Just Dance 2019 is out on Wii U. You might say, hey, those Wii U games came out on Tuesday. They probably did, but Nintendo gives you a rundown. We say the rundown. And then it's Insert Planet TD on Nintendo 3DS.
Oh wait, is it Insect Planet TD or Insert Planet TD? Because we got both.
You're right. No, I mean Nintendo on Wii U, it's Insect Planet TD, and then on E3DS, it is Insert Planet TD.
I would love if these were two completely different video games. That would be amazing.
And then the random name generators got them that close together.
I feel the need to download. I downloaded a new Wii U game a few months ago. I think it may be time to do it again.
You're too busy. Play Red Dead.
Yeah,
you got a podcast to do. New dates for you. Slayaway Camps Butcher Cut is coming to PlayStation motherfucking Vita.
All right.
November 6th, November 7th if you're in the EU. Kingdom Rush Vengeance is coming out on November 22nd on phones. Team Sonic Racing has been delayed to May 21st, 2019.
Oh, I'm kind of sad about that.
It's crazy. That's a big delay because it was supposed to be like imminent.
I'm glad they're taking the time.
Sure.
That's one of those like.
Oh yeah, I don't mean like that.
Because I'm not always crazy about Sonic, but I like a good like goofy racing game.
Yeah, people loved
and
his
I'm hoping
last
this will
racing
be
game,
good.
right? Earthfall is launching an Invasion update on October 30th, and then Jump Force is coming to PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One on February 15th, 2019. It's a misprint on me. I put 2018 because I'm used to it. Deals of the day for you. PlayStation has added a bunch of new PlayStation hits. These are games that are for $20. It's like the greatest hits lineup, but they call it something different. But $20 games. The new additions include, but aren't limited to, Until Dawn, the Uncharted Collection, Batman: Arkham Knight, UFC 2, Lego Marvel Super Heroes. Is that a 2? It's very small.
It's way too tiny.
I printed it out, and I was like, I won't get that into it. Battlefield Hardline. You can check it out. PlayStation Blog's got them all.
I was thinking the other day about Dragon Age Inquisition, and I was at the GameScoop thing, and they were talking about what the year that won Game of the Year at IGN, whether it should have or not. I don't know if it should have won Game of the Year or not. I liked that game though. That was a real good game. I think that game would be worth going back to.
Gotcha. It's time for reader mail. We have 2 at the top that I've edited heavily. First off, this one comes from Zelda. Hello, Kind of Funny Games Daily Crew. I was wondering why the doxing of blank, somebody's getting doxed right now because of something they did on the internet, is getting absolutely no coverage in the mainstream games media. Shouldn't these actions be condemned and brought to light? Why the blackout? Is it because most of the mainstream outlets disagreed with the person or the company's actions? So in this case, the person deserves the harassment? Just hoping to shed some light from my favorite non-biased media outlet. Thanks.
All right. I remember when I was at IGN, the internal discussions that gradually became the internal arguments, very passionate conversations between large groups of people at the height of Gamergate, when that was just emerging from from the dark butthole of the internet,
right,
to consume us all. And there was a lot of tension about the appropriate way to address it. Everybody agreed that what was happening was reprehensible. Not the idea of holding people accountable for their work. Everybody agreed that was a good idea. We all agreed
of course
that's a good idea. But the fact that it had very quickly taken on a vicious, visceral, misogynistic, doxing, cruel bent.
Yeah.
And there were 2 basic camps of thought that people switched between sometimes as time passed. One was, we must actively combat this. We must call this out. We must fight against it. We must build a wall up against it and a bulwark and use our megaphone to condemn this for the atrocity it is.
Yeah.
And the other that was, the more attention we give these people, the worse it gets. We become the story. We amplify them. Mm-hmm. And the more we talk about it, the more legitimacy we grant their position. And those 2 things were in constant tension between deeply concerned people within that company, all of whom wanted to do a good thing. I think about that, and then I think about you in this question, Greg. Yeah. And I kind of want to leave this one to you because this is your company.
Sure. I mean, like, the reason I'm not going to bring up a doxing story on Kind of Funny Games Daily of somebody who works at some other company that this is happening. And again, this isn't their doxing Randy Pitchford or Shigeru Miyamoto, right? They're going after somebody who did something stupid on the internet that is stupid, obviously. No, we're not going to talk about that there. And the reason it's getting blacked out is I think we're in a different place than we were at the start of Gamergate, correct? Right? Where like that obviously exploded and became a giant thing that got covered and needed coverage and people needed to understand where it was and all this jazz, right? Now for a doxing that, and with all due respect to Zelda, I hadn't heard anything about until your question, and I don't know, so I don't even know how prevalent it is or what it is, and yet Yes, it's your point, or it's the second side of the coin, and I don't want to talk about what should have been or could have been or whatever with how Gamergate was covered, but in this specific thing, people know doxing is wrong. People understand that. My stance on it is, of course, yes, these people who are doing this to get the headline and to get the attention and to troll these people and so yes, you ignore them and you don't give them the oxygen. You just starve them out that way, and they don't deal with it. And I understand they move on. You know what I mean? I understand that isn't necessarily how it's going to go. It isn't necessarily how it's going to play out. This is a horrible thing that's happening to somebody. And if take away and don't even what their actions were, right? In terms of that led to this or whatever. Just I no, that's not a news story that's going to be brought up on Kind of Funny Games Daily in terms of, hey, these horrible people are doing something stupid and horrible.
Oh, it's powerful. I remember people by the thousands were so kind to me many years ago when the accident on the Bay Bridge happened, when we were hit by the drunk driver and my wife was in the hospital. But there was one guy that just, and I didn't understand what was happening for a while, was just doing his best to bait me, to pull me in so he could say horrible things.
Right.
And my mind couldn't wrap around where it was coming from or why somebody would do that about that particular situation. And I found it incomprehensible. And speaking from a very naive perspective, even though I've been in this industry a long time, I think sometimes the reason that we feel so drawn to respond is just the befuddlement of decency to look and go, I don't understand this. Surely this can't be real. That's where I come at from this a lot of the time and end up getting more involved maybe than I should.
Well, it's the hardest thing, right? Because you want to talk to that person or yell at that person or deal with that thing, right? Yeah. And that's not what they want. Yeah. They don't want to have a conversation with you. They want to get under your skin and they want to ruin your day and they want to bring up a bad memory and they want to do this, right? As someone who has something horrible said about him on the internet probably every day, but I don't see most of it. It's so much easier to sip my coffee and mute and move on. Because if I sit there and if I come down and want to fight you and roll around in the mud and the fucking pig shit, what is the end goal here? Where do we get away from this? You don't want to have a conversation. You don't want to hear my side of why I've done this, said that, acted this way. You're just there to fight me. Yeah, I'm not going to engage in that.
It is difficult. You're right. First off, I agree with you. It's so hard for me inside. I would never advocate violence. I'm a pacifist. But I can understand the feeling of wanting to punch somebody in the face.
Oh my God, totally.
I felt it many times.
Oh my God, totally. How many times? And again, this isn't, to be clear, because people love to bend my words on this.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about valid criticism.
Yeah.
Which can be, I don't like the way Greg says, you know what I mean, and da-da-da. Like, those are real, da-da-da. All the stupid little ticks I have. Again, valid criticism. There's a difference between valid criticism and the escalation of somebody getting doxxed here, the escalation of you coming at me about my wife, the escalate, you know what I mean?
Like, well, that's the thing about dox. Like, I can understand wanting, even like being mad at somebody and wanting to hit them.
Yeah.
Don't hit them, but wanting to.
Course.
Even in that context, I can't understand wanting to emotionally wreck someone that you don't like.
Yeah, totally.
I just don't get it. It makes less sense to me than wanting to break a chair over somebody's head. And it just baffles me.
In the same vein, we have another question. This is from James George, who wrote in to kindafunny.com/KFGD. This is another one I've heavily edited because I don't need to draw attention to it. Basically, though, and I'm just going to paraphrase, James watched a Red Dead Redemption 2 review today on YouTube and then looked into the comments of the YouTube video. And as you'd imagine, as he points out, before I continue, let me say there are valid criticisms of just about any review or reviewer, right? But instead, what it goes down to is it goes into
misogynistic.
Thank you. I got to the edge there and couldn't say the word.
Because sometimes things don't come out of our mouths the way we want them
misogynistic
to.
and sexist and violent comments aimed at the reviewer, right? And he put a whole bunch in there that he could have just left it as, I know what those look like, but here they are. But he left them in there and then he goes, I was getting so angry reading the comments. My question to you is what can be done about this? Surely we can't let people get away with this kind of thing, but at the same time, engaging them only furthers the discourse. Again, the people leaving the ignorant, horrible comments that are attacking a reviewer based on any part of their gender, sexuality, who they are, right? Do not want to have a conversation. They want you to respond and fight with them. They want you to thrash about in the quicksand of social media with them until they drown you because they're so miserable that they want to make you miserable and ruin your day. The answer here, James, is one that I've said many a time, but I'll express it in more words, right? Of course, it's be better to each other, as I've always said, but more importantly, it is be the change you want to see. You say it here. What can be done, right? I love you, James. I'm using you because you wrote in with the question, of course. The answer is get off the bench. Leave a positive comment. Engage with someone who you don't agree with, but is doing it in the respectful criticism manner. We have to take back the internet. The amount of people who want, yes, YouTube comments are historically always a trash fire, right, of people coming in to start shit. Ignore them, downvote them, don't respond to them if they don't want to have a conversation, if they're not there. There's a world of difference between, hey, I don't agree with this review because of X, Y, and Z, and hey, you're a blank, and like all, it's clear that I'm not trying to say there isn't room for dissenting opinions, but we can handle it as adults and talk to each other as human beings. And when you see someone so desperate for fucking attention that they're going to say the most horrible, vile shit, ignore them. All they want is to get under your skin and deal with it. Ignore them. Mute them. If you want to, block them. If you're on YouTube, thumbs up the comments that aren't doing that. Leave your own comments. It's that thing is, if you're not going to give positive reinforcement, it's always going to be negative. And I understand it sounds crazy because YouTube comments are always bad. I've said that here, right? They're traditionally always bad. We have to take it back, and you have to go in there and do that. And if it's something that just doesn't matter to you, fine, but then never be offended. The amount of times somebody will hit me up. Today's a great example. The amount of times somebody will hit me up and I almost responded the amount of times somebody will hit me up and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that the YouTube comments are so bad in video X. And it's usually when I'll guest somewhere. And today, the Red Dead review, right? That we've had so many people hit me up and be like, man, this is a great discussion from two people that literally the things I don't like are the things you like. And that's a great, man, fascinating. And I love where that is. But I haven't bothered to go to the YouTube comments and read because those people don't want to have a conversation with me. They haven't played Red Dead. They're just mad and they want to be mad. Fine. It's fine. But that isn't reflective of the Pockets community or the Hop, Blip, and Jump community. Mm-hmm. In the same way somebody's a dick from who has kind of KFBF in their thing. They're a dick. That's not our whole community's toxic or anything else. Mm-hmm. One person shot off the mouth and shouldn't have done this. Like, everybody's just got to be fucking better to each other. And I'm sick and tired. I'm sorry I'm ranting now. I'm sick and tired of the way SJW gets thrown in your face, Soy Boy gets thrown in your face, White Knight gets thrown in your face. This is the verbiage of people who don't want you to dissent against them.
Are you virtue signaling right now, Greg?
Thank you. Fucking heaven forbid anyone in the world have empathy for someone else on the other side of the screen and what they're saying and why they're doing it. And you can not agree with somebody. That, okay, this trigger warning or whatever, I don't agree. That's fine, but you don't have to throw out these words trying to shut people down and get under their skin. And don't get me wrong, there's this image, right? There's this image, Jared, of look at all these soy boys, right? And it's all the people with their open mouths, I pose in every photo with the beard, right? And it's got Jack Patillo on there and a bunch of our friends. And somebody sent it to me you're just being a soy boy. And I'm like, I won't rest until I'm on this image. And the guy was like, wait, it's an insult. And I'm like, any publicity is good publicity.
I saw that.
I don't give a fuck what somebody calls me if they're an idiot.
I like to remember that the same man, I'm going Jesus twice in one episode, so everyone forgive me. The same man who said, love your neighbors and pray for those who persecute you, also said, don't waste pearls on pigs. He was not calling people pigs in my interpretation of that. He wasn't saying, this is a guy that's whole life was about loving the people who killed him. He loved people. Even those who disagree
Forgive them,
with him.
Father, right?
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't saying you're pigs. What I think he was trying to say there was there are times people are not going to listen at this moment. So you just do your best. Yeah. But don't try to force somebody to do something they're not willing to do right now. His argument effectively being, God doesn't force people to be good. Neither can you. But do your best, do good, find the place you can do good, and try your best to love even those that frustrate you and you don't understand, and to pray and engage with those who harm you in the ways that you can actually do something good from it. Mm-hmm. And by the way, that pray for part, thoughts and prayers gets a lot of justified criticism right now because of the way it's been misused. But one of the things I like about the idea of prayer, whether you're a person of faith or you're a complete atheist, prayer is the recognition that there are some things you don't have immediate power over, that you can do your best, but also you can't fix everything all by yourself.
Sure.
That's the mode of thought to take there, to understand that I can't fix this commenter right now. I just can't. I want to fix them. I can't make them better at this moment. I think what you're saying here, Greg, is a tremendous expression of that reality. It is possible to be compassionate, empathetic, kind, forgiving, and at the same time understand that at this moment there's some people you cannot reach in the state that they're in through a comment box.
Yeah.
We can't fix everything in every moment. And we have to trust that when opportunities to make actual differences happen, we'll take them when they come.
Yeah. And that's the thing is I think people look for big things. What's the big change I can do? What's the big movement I can be part of?
I know I do.
And there is no answer to that. It's little things. It's little things every day, right? Of like, be better to each other, talk to people the way you'd want to be talked to. And yes, like when you see that, man, the YouTube comments suck here. Yeah. It's easy to scroll off, but why not leave a thing or like, I really like this video, or I don't agree with you on this thing, but I appreciate this. And like, that's the way to do it in terms, and I know that seems so small and so fleeting. Let me tell you, the Trevor Starkey comment today on our review, the Alex O'Neill comment on our review that are very much like, I don't know if I'll agree with Greg, but it's cool to see this discussion. That goes so much further than, when the guy hits red.
No, I mean, I go into the Games Daily comments and you know, there's the, Jared's here, I'm out again.
Yeah.
I'm fine, I get that. And then there's the really weird, insulting, mean ones. And I'm like, ugh. And then I read a couple of people say, hey, by the way, I really like what you did. Or I didn't like what you did, but I appreciate you saying this.
Right.
And those make me feel good.
And then to watch the people who act like jerks and say something mean like that, come around on it, right? Yeah. And not come around necessarily on you, but come around on the idea of like, hey, I presented this wrong. Yeah. And the amount of times on the subreddit I've seen hey, a lot of love for Jared today. Here's what he did this. He's taking feedback. I know he's seen us say do this or whatever.
The number of times in my life, Greg, that I have been an unmitigated asshole is uncountable.
Sure, and aren't we all?
90% of those times I didn't realize I was being an asshole because I was too angry or too up my own butt to realize it.
Yeah.
You often don't realize it till it's too late to do anything but apologize and do better next time.
Right.
But guess what? That's how we get better.
Exactly. Yeah, admitting you fucked up and trying to be better about it. Be better to each other. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into kindafunny.com/KFGD with your questions, comments, concerns, bad PSN names, and everything else under the video game sun. I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody has fun playing video games together. Today, xHeroMithos, MITHOS, needs help on PlayStation 4. He or she says, hey guys, I'm a kind of funny best friend from London, Ontario, who's looking for some people to help hone my skills in Soul Calibur VI, as well as hang out at EGLX in Toronto this weekend at some of the events and obviously the kind of funny panels. Can't wait to meet you guys and gals this weekend, and I wish you a safe trip to the TO. Love you and see you there. xHeroMithos. If you want to play Soul Calibur or just meet up at EGLX, where we'll be, kindafunny.com/EGLX. Get the whole schedule. Hit up xHeroMithos.
Greg, I'm going to reveal a startling degree of ignorance. I've seen the abbreviation TO twice in this episode, and I still don't know what it is.
I believe that's what they call Toronto.
The
TO.
Okay,
that's what I'm taking away from it. Yeah, because it's only coming up in Toronto references.
Okay, that must be it. So it's like, this is the city?
Right, exactly. I think it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I asked you all to start sending in bad PSN names. Guess what? Nobody did today. I understand. Now, granted, I could be saving them and doing stuff. That's a lot of work, guys. And people are passing it around. You know how it goes.
You have failed this city.
Oh, hey, Arrow.
That's right.
We asked people watching live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames to go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and listening on podcast services around the globe.
Just once on Arrow, I want Will Wright to appear and be like, no, this city has failed you. Just like, I don't know, just get that Sim City in there. Get a little
Man, Jared. I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
What?
That we have 3? That's it? Nigma29 says, you're not nothing, Jared Hart. So I guess you must have said you're a nothing at some point.
Did I say I'm a nothing?
Apparently. Yeah, you're very self-deprecating.
I can be a little too self-deprecating sometimes. It's a bit of a... Wow, I just self-deprecated on self-deprecating. Okay,
Zaire writes in with a 3-parter. Apparently, Vampire is coming to Switch.
Okay.
Alan Wake is back on Steam and on sale for $3.
Cool.
And then deal of the day, Metro 2033 is free on Steam for the next 24 hours.
Until it's Metroid 2033, I'm not interested.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. Sorry, this burp's not sure what it wants to do. Yeah. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show. kindafunny.com/KFGD with your questions, comments, concerns, bad PSN names, and everything else. Then watch us record it live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. Watch it later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and listen on podcast services around the globe. Tomorrow, to close out the week, it is Tim Geddes and Aiden Strawhun making her return to the one and only Kind of Funny Games Daily. Nick and I will be winging it to the TO. Rad. Jared will probably be playing Red Dead.
Yeah, Jared will be recording another episode of Red Dead Radio tonight, which will go up tomorrow morning.
Where can they get these shows?
They're going to be able to find that at reddeadradio.com, which works again. Yeah. Or they can go to youtube.com/hotblip and jump, or listen on Stitcher, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Android, iHeartRadio, all those places where you listen to them podcasts. But yeah, we're gonna have an impressions discussion tonight, so I'm looking forward to that.
Who's going to be on with you? What do you want to say?
I think I can say now. It's going to be Mike Mahardy. From
GameSpot's Mike Mahardy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
He's going to drop by.
Well, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you.